Commander Mike Johnson stared at the holographic display, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of 1,000 digital skirmishes playing out across the galaxy. The Galactic Council had never expected humanity to fight back like this, not with weapons or warships, but with something far more devastating: humor. Status report, Mike barked, watching as his team of digital warriors tapped away at their stations. Lieutenant Lisa Miller looked up from her console. Sir, our memes have breached the Taurian neural networks. Their communication systems are being flooded with pictures of cats wearing battle armor and asking for space cheeseburgers. The room erupted in laughter, but Mike remained stoic. 5 years ago, humans were on the brink of subjugation. The Alien Alliance had superior technology, superior numbers, and superior firepower. What they didn't have was a defense against humanity's secret weapon: their absurd sense of humor. The Vexarians are reporting mass confusion in their ranks, reported Technician Tom Wilson. They can't understand why their soldiers keep making references to taking arrows to the knee and refusing to engage in combat unless they get to quick save first. Mike nodded, remembering the discovery that had changed everything. Alien species processed information differently, and their neural pathways were particularly vulnerable to illogical or absurdist content. A well-crafted meme could cause temporary system paralysis in their technology and confusion in their organic minds. What about the Arcturian flagship? Mike asked. Communications Officer Jack Davis grimaced. We hit them with the distracted boyfriend meme modified to show their supreme commander looking at Earth while his home planet looks on in disapproval. Their command structure is in complete disarray. On the main screen, the visualization showed millions of human-crafted memes spreading through enemy networks like a digital plague, each one carrying fragments of human culture, jokes that made no sense to alien minds, references without context, and images doctored to induce maximum cognitive dissonance. They thought they could silence us, Mike said quietly. They never understood that humans communicate in layers. We don't just say what we mean. We imply, we reference, we joke. The alien coalition had established language filters to prevent humans from organizing resistance. What they hadn't counted on was humanity's ability to convey complex messages through cultural shorthand, memes that could bypass filters because they weren't recognized as communication. Sir, Lisa called out, the Taurians are requesting a ceasefire. Their translator algorithms have crashed, and they're asking for time to understand the joke. A cheer went up around the command center. Mike allowed himself a small smile. The digital battlefield had proven to be humanity's greatest advantage. While aliens relied on direct, logical communication protocols, humans thrived in the chaotic, interconnected mess of references, jokes, and cultural touchstones that made up the human internet. Send them a picture of that dog sitting in a burning room saying, "This is fine," Mike ordered. Then tell them we'll discuss terms tomorrow. As the command center erupted in laughter again, Mike looked at the galactic map. One by one, the red dots representing hostile alien forces were turning yellow, confused, or green, in retreat. The digital battlefield had been won not with bullets or bombs, but with the most human weapon of all: laughter. General Rebecca Thompson addressed the United Earth Defense Council, her uniform adorned with the newly created insignia of the Meme Warfare Division. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, what started as a desperate defensive tactic has evolved into our most effective offensive strategy. Meme warfare has become the new frontier in our fight for galactic recognition. Behind her, a screen displayed the latest success. The Draxan Armada had withdrawn from the Ta-Ceti system after their navigation systems were compromised by a flood of incorrect but confident human directions memes, sending their ships in endless circles. The fundamental weakness of our adversaries, Rebecca continued, is their literal interpretation of data. They process information sequentially and logically. Humans, however, have evolved to understand context, subtext, and to find patterns even in random noise. Councilman Robert Brown raised his hand. But General, surely they're developing countermeasures by now. Rebecca nodded grimly. They are. The Vexarians have created meme filtering algorithms. The Arcturians are employing human prisoners to explain jokes to them. But they're missing the point. Understanding a joke doesn't make it less effective if the structure of your thought processes cannot accommodate humor. On the screen, classified footage showed alien ships whose control systems had been hijacked by what humans called trolling. They're targeting computers endlessly pursuing digital mirages of cartoon characters. We've developed specialized meme units, Rebecca explained. The Nostalgia Brigade targets older alien species by referencing events they weren't present for, but implying they should remember. The Absurdist Front creates logical paradoxes that crash their decision-making matrices, and our elite shitposting commandos can reduce an entire alien command structure to confusion with carefully timed nonsensical communications. The council members exchanged glances. What had begun as a joke was now humanity's most powerful weapon. Our latest breakthrough, Rebecca said, is weaponized FOMO, fear of missing out. We've seeded alien networks with invitations to non-existent human cultural events, causing entire battle groups to redirect to empty coordinates. Admiral James Wilson leaned forward. And what about civilian applications? Rebecca smiled. Trade negotiations have never been easier. The Taurians couldn't understand why humans kept referring to stonks during economic discussions. They conceded favorable terms just to make the confusing communication stop. Footage played of alien diplomats appearing bewildered as human negotiators communicated partly through reaction GIFs and references to ancient human entertainment. The key insight, Rebecca said, is that aliens don't share our contextual framework. When a human says, "This is giving me Titanic vibes," other humans instantly understand the reference to a ship disaster or a romantic film. Aliens experience these communications as nonsensical non sequiturs that their translation software cannot parse. Rebecca advanced to the next slide, showing the newly established meme research facility in Nevada. We're now curating and developing targeted memetic content. Every alien species has different cognitive vulnerabilities. The Arcturians can't process recursive humor, jokes about jokes. The Vexarians freeze up when confronted with anthropomorphized objects expressing emotions. The Council watched, fascinated, as test footage showed alien subjects attempting to understand human internet culture, their confusion evident. Make no mistake, Rebecca concluded, this is the new frontier of warfare. While our enemies were building bigger guns, humanity weaponized its creativity, its absurdity, and its ability to find humor in chaos. They may have the firepower, but we have the funny. And in this new battlefield, that's what matters. Colonel Dave Martin walked through the halls of the Meme Division Training Academy, formerly MIT's Media Lab. Around him, humanity's strangest warriors were being forged. Our training program has 4 components, Dave explained to the visiting UN representatives. First, cultural literacy. You can't create effective memes without understanding both human and alien cultural touchpoints. They passed a classroom where instructors were lecturing on the history of internet culture, from early message boards to the golden age of viral videos to contemporary algorithmic content. Second, psychological warfare tactics. Understanding how different species process information and what cognitive vulnerabilities we can exploit. In the next room, trainees studied alien brain scans, watching how different types of human humor created various patterns of confusion or system disruption in extraterrestrial neural networks. The Rigelians, for instance, have a hive mind structure that makes them particularly vulnerable to paradoxical instructions. Show them that this statement is false paradox wrapped in a cute animal image, and their entire collective consciousness freezes for up to 30 seconds. A female representative looked concerned. Isn't this unethical? It sounds like torture. Dave shook his head. It's certainly less ethical than the plasma cannons they were using on our colonies. Besides, no permanent damage is done. They simply experience confusion, much like humans experiencing cultural bewilderment. They continued to the third training area, where recruits worked on creative production. Technical skills are essential. Image manipulation, video editing, AI-assisted content generation. Our best operatives can create and deploy a targeted mimetic payload in under 30 seconds. In the room, trainees raced against the clock, rapidly altering images and text to create content specifically designed to confuse alien algorithms. Their work was then tested against simulated alien filtering systems. Our top graduate last year was Kevin Thompson, former pizza delivery guy and Reddit moderator. He can crash an Arcturian battlecruiser's navigation system with nothing but a picture of a confused-looking dog and some deliberately misspelled text. The final training area was the most impressive. A massive operations floor that resembled a social media company more than a military installation. Deployment and analytics, Dave explained. We monitor how our content spreads through alien networks, which memes are most effective, and how quickly they're developing countermeasures. Screens showed real-time data from across the galaxy, heat maps of meme propagation, effectiveness ratings, and adaptation metrics. The key insight that makes humans exceptional at this warfare is our ability to evolve content rapidly. Aliens develop a defense against one meme format, and we simply shift to another. They can't predict what we'll do because we often don't know ourselves until the moment of creation. A young recruit demonstrated rapidly transforming a failing meme campaign by adding a new layer of irony, making the meme about the failure of the original meme. The alien test subjects in the monitoring chamber showed immediate confusion. We found that certain skills correlate with meme warfare aptitude, Dave continued. Former social media managers, comedians, advertising creatives, and strangely enough, philosophers tend to excel. Anyone who understands how to manipulate context and meaning. In the training centers, recruits from diverse backgrounds worked side by side. Teenage internet prodigies alongside veteran psychological operations specialists, stand-up comedians next to anthropologists. The meme division has the most diverse recruitment pool in military history, Dave said proudly. Age, background, education, none of it matters as much as creative thinking and cultural fluency. As they concluded the tour, one representative asked, "What's your greatest challenge?" Dave paused. Keeping ahead of alien adaptation. They're learning. Slowly, painfully, but learning. Some species have started employing human consultants to help them understand our humor. And that works. Dave smiled. Have you ever had someone explain a joke to you? It doesn't make it funny. Understanding humor intellectually isn't the same as having it integrated into your cognitive architecture. As long as aliens think linearly, we'll always have the advantage. Captain Anna Davis sat across from the nervous applicant, a college dropout named Mark Wilson, who fidgeted in his chair. "So you want to join the meme division," Anna said, reviewing his file. "Your application is unusual." Mark nodded eagerly. "I've been preparing my whole life for this, Captain. I just didn't know it." Anna raised an eyebrow. "You have no military background, no advanced degree, and your employment history consists of 3 months at a fast food restaurant and professional internet commenter, whatever that means." "But I have 7 million followers on Spacegram," Mark countered. "My content on alien misunderstandings of human culture went viral even on Arcturian networks. I crashed their cultural analysis servers twice." Anna leaned forward. "That's precisely why you're here instead of being arrested for interfering with alien communications. Let me explain how recruitment works." She activated a holographic display showing the application process flowchart. The meme division has the most unconventional recruitment strategy in military history. We have 3 entry pathways: traditional military transfer, civilian specialist recruitment, and what we call chaotic creative intake. That's you. The hologram highlighted the 3rd pathway. Step 1 is identification. Our algorithms monitor online content creators for potential. Anyone who consistently creates content that confuses alien translation software gets flagged. You were identified 6 months ago when your Aliens Trying Human Idioms series temporarily disabled a Regellian cultural observation post. Mark grinned. I had no idea they were actually watching. Step 2 is assessment, Anna continued. Unlike traditional military testing, we evaluate creative thinking, cultural awareness, and mimetic instinct. Can you explain why this image? She projected a seemingly nonsensical combination of pictures and text. Would be amusing to humans but incomprehensible to Vexarians. Mark studied it. It's a subversion of expectations with multiple layers of cultural reference. You need to know about both early 21st century internet culture and contemporary space exploration memes to get it. Vexarians process information linearly. They can't make the contextual leaps required. Anna nodded, impressed. Step 3 is specialized training. If accepted, you'll undergo a 6-week crash course. Not basic training. We don't need you to do push-ups, but safety protocols, alien psychology, and classified information about species-specific vulnerabilities. On the screen, the training curriculum appeared, showing classes like temporal dislocation in alien cognition and weaponized nostalgia, making aliens miss experiences they never had. The final step is assignment. We have 5 primary units: tactical meme operations, strategic narrative development, countermeasure evolution, deep cultural infiltration, and first contact confusion. Based on your profile, you'd likely join tactical, our frontline digital warriors. Mark's eyes widened. You mean I be deploying memes directly against alien systems? Exactly. Working in real time during engagements to confuse and disrupt enemy communications and decision-making. Anna closed the file. The pay is excellent. The hours are terrible. You'll work with the strangest collection of individuals ever assembled by a military organization. Everything from teenage members to retired linguistics professors. And you'll be on the front lines of humanity's most effective defense. What's the acceptance rate? Mark asked. 10%, Anna replied. But conventional metrics don't apply. We've rejected decorated generals and accepted high school dropouts. We need people who think differently. She passed him a tablet. This is the formal application. It contains a series of scenarios and creative challenges. No right answers, but plenty of wrong ones. Complete it by tomorrow. Mark took it eagerly. Any tips? Anna smiled slightly. Don't try to be funny in ways you think we want. We're looking for your unique cognitive style. And remember, what seems like nonsense to others might be exactly what we need. As Mark left, Anna opened her drawer and pulled out a small device. She pressed a button, and a holographic message appeared. Tactical Unit 7 deployment in 6 hours. Arcturian fleet approaching Proxima Centauri colony. The MAME division was always recruiting, always evolving. Humanity's strange but effective answer to alien aggression. Their weapons weren't bullets or bombs, but jokes and references, deployed with precision by the most unusual soldiers in human history. Admiral Jake Thompson addressed the United Earth Defense Council, his uniform bearing the now famous insignia of the MAME division, a stylized laughing emoji wearing a military helmet. 7 years ago, he began, when we first deployed mimetic warfare tactics, they were a desperate measure. Today, they represent humanity's primary strategic advantage in the galactic community. Behind him, a star map displayed humanity's expanding influence, far greater than their technological level should have allowed. The Arcturian Empire has established a 3-light-year buffer zone around human space, not because they fear our weapons, but because they cannot risk exposure to our communications. The Regellian Hive has formally requested that all human transmissions be simplified and linearized before crossing their borders. A councilwoman raised her hand. Admiral, what's the current state of alien countermeasures? Jake nodded grimly. Evolving, but not fast enough. The Vexarians have developed what they call humor inoculation protocols. essentially exposing their command staff to progressively more complex human jokes under controlled conditions. The Taurians are experimenting with AI filters that attempt to identify and quarantine mimetic content. He switched the display to show intercepted alien communications, but they're fighting a losing battle. Their cognitive architecture evolved for different challenges than ours. Humans developed imagination and abstract thinking as survival mechanisms on Earth. We're uniquely adapted to create and process non-literal content. The council members reviewed the latest statistics. Human expansion had accelerated threefold since the formal establishment of the meme division. Trade agreements overwhelmingly favored Earth. Several smaller alien species had requested human protection, preferring occasional confusion to the alternatives offered by larger empires. We're now moving beyond defensive applications, Jake continued. Project Rosetta is developing cross-species memes that can be understood by both humans and specific alien races, creating the possibility of genuine cultural exchange rather than just weaponized confusion. The screen showed examples of carefully crafted content that human test subjects found amusing and Taurian subjects found comprehensible, if not humorous. More significantly, we've begun deploying what we call cognitive terraforming, long-term exposure to human thought patterns that gradually reshape how alien species process information. This revelation caused murmurs among the council. "Is that ethical?" asked Councilman Sam Rodriguez. Jake shrugged. "More ethical than conquest. We're not forcing change. We're sharing our perspective. Some species are actually embracing it. The Proxima Centauri Trading Collective has voluntarily adopted human humor as a status symbol. Their elites compete to understand our jokes first." The most classified part of the briefing came last. "We've made a breakthrough in understanding why humor evolved in humans to begin with," Jake explained. "It appears to be a cognitive mechanism for processing contradictory information and identifying novel patterns, essentially a mental technology for managing complexity." The implications were profound. Aliens aren't just confused by our memes. They're encountering a more advanced information processing system than their own. Species that can adapt to understand human humor show measurable increases in problem-solving capacity and creative thinking. Admiral Jake activated the final display, a proposed structure for the expanded meme division. "The future of warfare isn't about destruction but transformation. We're requesting funding for 5 new departments: mimetic diplomacy, cognitive exchange, humor development, cross-species integration, and defensive irony." The budget figures were substantial, but a fraction of traditional military spending. 100 years ago, humanity feared alien contact would mean our subjugation due to technological inferiority. Instead, we've discovered our greatest weapon was inside our minds all along: our unique way of processing information through abstraction, metaphor, and humor. Jake looked around the room. The stars are not alien territory to be conquered, but the next frontier for human creativity. Our jokes, our memes, our strange and wonderful way of seeing the universe. These are the ambassadors that will secure our place in the cosmos. As the council voted unanimously to expand the meme division's mandate, Jake reflected on how far they'd come. From desperate defenders to cultural revolutionaries, humans had found their niche in the galactic community not through force, but through laughter. The future of warfare wasn't about who had the biggest guns, but who could change how the enemy thought. And in that arena, humanity reigned supreme. Dr. Emily Richards, Director of Mimetic Ethics, faced the emergency meeting of Earth's Security Council with grave concern. The screens behind her displayed chaotic scenes from across human and alien space. "We have a situation," she stated flatly. "Our mimetic warfare techniques have been weaponized against us." The council members shifted uncomfortably. For a decade, humanity had enjoyed uncontested supremacy in the field of cognitive warfare. No longer. 3 months ago, Emily continued, we detected the first signs of what we're calling reverse-engineered memes, content created by alien intelligence specifically designed to confuse human cognitive processes. The main screen showed examples: strange, unsettling images and text that seem to shift meaning when viewed, creating a sense of cognitive dissonance in human observers. The Vexarian Collective has been experimenting with human prisoners, studying how our minds process information. They've identified our own cognitive vulnerabilities, particularly our tendency to seek patterns even where none exist, and our susceptibility to certain types of paradoxical thinking. General Brian Murphy leaned forward. "Are you saying they've developed memes that work against humans?" Emily nodded grimly. "The first attack hit New Mars colony last week. Seemingly random images and text sequences began appearing on all communication channels. Within hours, productivity dropped by 60%. People reported headaches, confusion, and an inability to concentrate. Some described it as having a song stuck in your head, but it's a thought that makes no sense." The council watched footage from security cameras on New Mars. People staring blankly at screens, repeatedly performing the same actions, or engaging in bizarre, ritualistic behaviors. "We're calling it cognitive looping," Emily explained. "The alien memes create thought patterns that humans can't easily break out of, like mental earworms." Admiral Jake Thompson, now gray-haired but still commanding the meme division, spoke up. "We've contained the outbreak on New Mars by implementing emergency protocols, cutting all external communications and deploying cognitive reset techniques. But this is just the beginning." Emily advanced to the next slide, showing an analysis of the alien counter memes. "They're using our own cultural references against us, but subtly altered to create cognitive friction. Familiar images with wrongness that the brain keeps trying to correct. Statements that seem meaningful but dissolve into nonsense when you try to process them." "Do we have countermeasures?" asked the Secretary General. Jake nodded cautiously. "We're developing them. The advantage we still have is neurological diversity. Humans vary widely in how we process information. What creates cognitive looping in one person might have no effect on another." Emily highlighted a new initiative on the screen. Project Cognitive Shield. "We're recruiting individuals with atypical neurological profiles, particularly those on the autism spectrum, those with synesthesia, and individuals with trained mental disciplines like meditation practitioners. These individuals show greater resistance to the alien counter memes. They're helping us develop protection protocols and cognitive vaccines." The most disturbing revelation came last. "We have evidence that at least 3 alien species are working together on this initiative," Emily said. "It appears our success with mimetic warfare has driven them to unprecedented cooperation." The implications were clear. Humanity's greatest weapon had sparked an arms race in cognitive warfare. "The good news," Jake offered, "is that we still have the advantage of creativity. Aliens can analyze and replicate, but they struggle with true innovation. They can create counter memes based on studying humans, but they can't anticipate where our culture will go next." Emily closed the presentation with a proposed response strategy. "We're accelerating cultural evolution, deliberately introducing new reference frames, new humor patterns, and new cognitive structures that aliens haven't had time to study. We're calling it cognitive drift, ensuring human thought patterns remain a moving target." As the council debated emergency measures, Emily exchanged a worried glance with Jake. They both understood what the others didn't yet grasp. The universe had entered a new era of warfare, where the battlefield was the mind itself, and victory would go to whoever could think in ways the enemy couldn't comprehend. The Great Meme Rebellion had begun, and this time, humanity would have to laugh not just to attack, but to survive. Grand Admiral Tom White stood before the assembled representatives of Earth and its 27 colony worlds. Behind him stretched the holographic images of 17 alien ambassadors, species that, just 15 years earlier, had been bent on humanity's subjugation. "Today," Tom announced, "we formalize the Galactic Accord on Cognitive Exchange and Mimetic Cooperation, a new chapter in interspecies relations." The journey to this moment had been neither simple nor peaceful. After the Great Meme Rebellion, Both humans and aliens had pushed cognitive warfare to dangerous new frontiers. There had been mimetic plagues that left entire populations temporarily catatonic. There had been weaponized cultural transmission that rewrote portions of alien collective memory. There had been human counterattacks that fragmented hive minds into competing consciousness factions. All sides had approached the brink of a form of warfare that threatened not bodies, but minds themselves. The Accord recognizes three fundamental principles, Tom continued. First, the right of all sentient species to cognitive sovereignty, protection from unwanted mimetic influence. Second, the establishment of regulated channels for consensual cultural exchange. And third, the creation of the Interspecies Humor Initiative. This last element had been the most surprising development of all. After years of using humor as a weapon, humanity had discovered something unexpected. Some aliens wanted to learn to laugh. The Regelian ambassador's translation device hummed. Humans weaponized humor because we couldn't understand it. Now we seek to understand it because we recognize its power. Your ability to process contradictory information through laughter represents a cognitive technology we wish to incorporate. On the display screens, footage showed the first successes of the Humor Initiative. Vexarian scientists experiencing their species' first recorded instances of genuine humor. Their tentacles convulsed in what xenobiologists confirmed was their version of laughter as they finally grasped the concept of irony. Dr. Emily Richards, now the head of the Interspecies Cognitive Exchange Program, addressed the assembly. What began as warfare has evolved into something more profound. We've discovered that humor isn't uniquely human. It's just that humans developed it first. It appears to be an emergent property of advanced intelligence facing complexity and contradiction. The data was compelling. Alien species that had successfully integrated humor concepts showed marked improvements in problem-solving, technological innovation, and social cohesion. What humans had evolved over millennia, other species were now adopting through deliberate practice. The universe is absurd, Emily explained. Particles that exist in multiple states simultaneously, causality that sometimes runs backwards, complexity that defies linear analysis. Humans developed humor as a cognitive tool to process these contradictions. Now we're sharing that tool. Not all was peace and cooperation, of course. Some human factions argued against sharing their cognitive advantages. Some alien species refused to participate, viewing humor as a form of mental contamination. The weaponized aspects of mimetic exchange continued in shadow conflicts across the galaxy. But a fundamental shift had occurred in how intelligent species viewed each other. We came to the stars expecting to find either enemies or friends, Tom said in conclusion. Instead, we found minds different from our own in ways we couldn't have imagined. Our greatest victory wasn't conquering alien species, but helping them, and ourselves, evolve. As the assembly prepared to ratify the accord, Tom reflected on humanity's strange journey. They had gone from nearly conquered to conquerors, not through force of arms, but through the power of jokes, memes, and cognitive patterns that other species couldn't comprehend. And then, when that power was challenged, humans had made their greatest discovery. That laughter could be shared, not just weaponized. That the absurdity of existence was a universal experience, even if the cognitive tools to process it had evolved uniquely on Earth. The final clause of the Accord established the most ambitious project of all, the Cosmic Comedy Initiative, a deliberate attempt to create forms of humor comprehensible to all sentient species, a shared cognitive framework for processing the universe's inherent contradictions. As alien representatives awkwardly attempted the human custom of applause, Tom smiled. The cosmos itself was the ultimate joke, chaotic, contradictory, and defying all attempts at complete understanding. Perhaps laughter truly was the most appropriate response to the magnificent absurdity of existence. Humanity had indeed taken over the cosmos, not by conquering it, but by teaching it to laugh.